Hello, hello, and welcome, my Aquarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your soulmate reading for April, May 2020. I am your reader, Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, president of Drawing Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and damn Skippy. Happy to be serving you today on this cloudy, overcast day in Holbrook, Long Island, coming to you from my dining room. Love being a YouTuber, particularly during this time of challenge. I don't have to leave the house. That being said, let's get down to business, shall we? If you are new to my channel, please do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and feel free to comment below. I do like the feedback because I am so used to doing readings face-to-face with people and on video chats and stuff like that, that I kind of like to see the look in their eyes when I nail them, so to speak. It's like, whoa, right? It's like, how do you know that? I'm like, why are you paying me? So that being said, let's look at this. What we are doing here is called a general read, right? So please take what resonates, leave what doesn't, check your other signs. That's why I always do Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for any of the relationship-based spreads, which are my specialty. I am a true love witch. Some people are actually calling me that, the true love witch. I'm like, sounds like a true sandwich, but whatever. Can't control what people say about you, apparently, even with all the lobelia on planet Earth. It's a very specific witch reference. That being said, this is a soul contract reading. Soulmates and twin flames are not the same things, though they are both soul contracts. Soulmate contracts are about helping each other heal. We'll talk about twin flames when I do those readings. If you want, go look at the ones I've already done. And you'll get a little insight on them. All of the soulmate and twin flame contracts that I do are timeless, so it doesn't matter when you watch them, but I wouldn't binge watch them all together. It might get a little confusing. And you have many different types of soulmate contracts. My mom and I are soulmates. We help each other heal. We always have. Doesn't mean we haven't had our issues. I was a hellion to raise as a teenager. But these readings in particular, as it says in the title, are the happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual kind of soulmates, the ones that we've been craving for thousands of years, lifetime after lifetime. So since now we have access to things like, oh, I don't know, psychology, our chances of nailing this are much better, I think, than ever before in human history. And maybe, I don't know, 100 years from now, we'll all be in these soulmate, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, romantic sexual relationships. But until then, let's see what we can get for you to help you heal you, so that you can help heal your soulmate partner, whether you are together or not, whether you even know each other or not, or if you have a question, is this person or isn't they, is they is or is they ain't my soulmate. Doesn't matter if you're helping each other heal, you are. Cool, cool. Last thing I want to say is that this is a contract reading. I was raised by a lawyer. So we're looking at party number 1 and party number 2 that we will be calling the divine feminine and the divine masculine. It has nothing to do with biological gender at all. It does have to do with energetic dynamic. I myself consider myself a divine feminine, more intuitive, more empathic. I am a Pisces moon, and I'm a guy. A gay guy, but a guy nonetheless. So doesn't mean I don't have my masculine energies. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be a YouTuber, right? There would be no yang. I wouldn't be able to communicate and look as good as I do in a polo sweatshirt, hoodie, whatever. So remember to breathe, please. I will do the same. You're air signs. The more you breathe, the more you will be in the present moment. The more I breathe, the more I'm in the present moment and able to translate the guidance and the grace that I get from my pantheons for you all through the divination systems. And speaking through divination systems, or about divination systems, all the decks I read are in the description box at the very bottom. Go have a look. There's a lot of cool stuff in my description box. As a Virgo, I take pride in my description box every single time I do a new series. We're going to start with the Caroline Mace archetype deck. We'll get one card for the Divine Feminine, one card for the Divine Masculine. Keep in mind these cards can be triggery because they mention the shadow attribute as well as the light. The shadow attribute is what you don't want to look at, but what you are helping each other heal both within yourself and within the soulmate contract, whether you've met or not, whether you are together or not, because that's called quantum entanglement on the soul level. So shall we? Nice deep breath, my Aquariums. Oh, that was lovely. Here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, 2 cards down. 1 for the Divine Feminine and 1 for the Divine Masculine in this Aquarian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, soulmate contract for April, May 2020, please. First for our Divine Feminine, there she is, and then for our Divine Masculine, one more time around, sure. One for the Divine Masculine, there he is. Let's see who we got here. Who's our happy couple? Ooh. Now, the wording on this one's a little weird for the Divine Feminine, so I'm going to add a word to it. We have got the Priest, and I will say Priestess. Archetype for the Divine Feminine here, and we've got the Divine Masculine Engineer. I mean, engineer is definitely a gender-neutral word, but priest we usually consider to be masculine. So, because I'm a pagan and a witch, I've been in covens. There's a thing called a priestess, in case you weren't familiar with it, so I will refer to that as priest. Priestess, although in the title to save room, I might just say priest. We'll see. We'll see how much I can squeeze in there. So let me read you the shadow and the light archetype, and let's just start by saying we know the shadow side of the priest, but I am obligated to read it anyway. The shadow attribute violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. I was in Black Forest Clan a really long time ago, and there was this thing that was called High Priest or High Priestess fever, where you got about a month of getting away with that before you got called out on the carpet for it. And that is thinking that you're better than, seduced by your spiritual role, that you are the savior and that nothing can be done without you, very close to the shadow of the Messiah archetype. It's not cute, right? But the light side facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. So there are a lot of people that are being used as channels of spiritual energy that may not ever consider themselves a priest or a priestess archetype. So keep that in mind. We're not just one archetype. We are a conglomeration, gestalt of all of these different archetypes in 3 different levels: the Chronos, the Kairos, the Cosmic. Read Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Mace, who created this deck. So there's our Divine Feminine. We've got her coordinates there. For the Divine Masculine, this is the Divine family of archetypes. There are 9 different families of archetypes. This is the creative family of archetypes, our engineer here. The shadow attribute, reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. Like if you go to an Aquarian, if you go to an engineer, Aquarian or otherwise, and say to them, oh, my dog's not feeling well, and they say, well, it's just a dog, kill it. Okay, that might solve the problem, but it's not exactly emotionally sensitive, right? Where the light attribute, ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. Perfect example. I have an Aquarian friend of mine. I've known him for about 25, 30 years, who is in the tech field. And I told him it was taking me a long time with my laptop to kind of get things up to YouTube in a timely manner. Like I was waiting hours for, see, I edit my videos on Sony Movie Maker. That's why I can put in music and stuff like that and edit it. And I really am familiar with it, and I don't feel like learning a new program. And he said, all right, well, what if we do this, do this, do this, do this? So he actually got me a computer that he had laying around and a monitor. So what I do is I film it here downstairs and I run it up to that other computer. So my laptop, which is in front of me right now, it's there, but I use it for social media stuff. I do all of my editing upstairs. So in that first line, ability to give creative energy, my creative energy, a practical expression. And he certainly has a talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. Right? Perfect example. Now, him and I very well may be soulmates, but we're not romantically entangled that way. But I kind of like, because he's definitely a divine masculine. Oh, and I was a priest. Interesting. Interesting. No, I do not think of him romantically. He's my big brother, so to speak. But if you can't differentiate right now between which one you are, divine masculine or divine feminine, fear not. We're going to take the Daughters of the Moon Tarot to get fire, earth, air, water, spirit for the divine feminine priest, what's called the element spread. And we're going to do the same with the Mythic Tarot for the divine masculine engineer archetype. So, you know, what it is that they want, what they feel, what they think, all of that stuff, the 5 magical elements for this soulmate contract. Take a nice deep breath. Oh, that's just lovely. My goddesses, please, oh please, oh please, top 5 cards, top of the deck, element spread for this divine feminine priestess archetype. Remember, it's not about biological gender. In this Aquarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, soulmate, satisfying soulmate contract for April, May 2020, or timeless, please. Top 5 cards for this priestess, maiden, mother, crone, maiden, mother. Crone. We'll do the same for him next, shall we? What is her element of fire? What does she want in this contract? Well, she got a fire card in the element of fire. The Sagittarius card, Caridwen, definitely about transformation. The goddess of the cauldron, right? The cauldrons need the element of fire. They are like the creative womb of the goddess, though in this case it is the crone of flames. So we're looking at a mutable fire. So there's probably a lot of things that she wants here in terms of mutability. Yes, this divine masculine could be Sagittarian or Sagittarian-like, the archer, but if you think mutable fire like flaming arrows, ooh, I want that, I want that, and I want that, and I want that. You also might want to check out the Sagittarian reading. But that being said, my Aquarians, this can also be about 9th house energy, which is about expansion and spirituality ruled by the planet Jupiter, right? The gas giant. I dated a few gas giants. Stinky. So that kind of expansion of consciousness, that experience of the divine, channeling that higher vibrational spiritual energy through you is a very expansive thing, but that could also be very much she wants a spirit-based, an expansive soulmate contract. So what does she have? The element of earth, the fuel that feeds the fire to help her get that. Her first major arcana card, the card of the Amazon, the Chariot. So, you know, she's got some emotional stuff that she needs to kind of put together in the same direction. Perfect example. This morning, woke up, I was up till 1:30 this morning talking to someone on the phone who's going through a really rough time. And so I wanted to sleep in, but I was like awake. You know how you wake up and you're like, I know, very Tina Belcher. I was like, I don't want to get up. So that was like, if you like, the dark horse. But the light horse was like, yeah, but, you know, we're going to live stream at 11 a.m. and we've got an hour and a half. We can kind of do that. Back and forth, back and forth. So I had to find the motivation and the inspiration. Inspiration is the carrot, motivation is the stick, to get myself emotionally up and out of bed. And if you notice, she's carrying a shield there shaped like the moon. And this is very much a Cancerian card. One of, well, I kind of want to and I kind of don't want to. Yes, no, the emotional moodiness. And if you look at the Rider-Waite version of the Chariot card, you'll see the crescent moons on the shoulder of the charioteer. One of them is comedy and one of them is tragedy, right? So it is that light and dark push and pull, that moodiness, that we have to find emotional balance in order to move forward, to take the reins of our lives, usually a balance of inspiration and motivation. What's going on intellectually? Her element of air. What's she thinking? Her second major arcana card, and this is the card of the Priestess. We've got the priestess archetype and the priestess, so she is thinking about her spiritual role. Now, what I just got a flash on here is perhaps she has been solitary for a while. A lot of us are solitary right now, and I just don't mean like a witch that practices alone. I mean in terms a lot of us are... I'm trying to find a way to say this so I don't trigger words for YouTube. Sequestered within our own domains, right? A lot of us are on our own. I am. It's just me and my cats here in my house. So there's that part of it, but perhaps she's really focused on her own spiritual process, her own spiritual practice, her own spiritual evolution, as well as allowing herself to be a channel, right? Well, what does it say here? Serves as a channel of spiritual energy. Maybe she's praying for the world. Maybe she's doing Reiki, Shmakey, Eggs and Bakey all over the world, so to speak. So, of course, she would want a relationship that, you know, kind of supports that has that Sagittarian expansion and adventure and mutable fire, but that she may not be completely 100% on board emotionally, because I will tell you, if you have been through a lot of twin flame contracts, romantic, sexually, not fun, but necessary, then the idea of, you may not even want to know from anybody in terms of, it's like, can we just go out to dinner and see how this happens? So there might be a moodiness there, but what's on her mind, she's absolutely not going to compromise in terms of her own spiritual path. Like I say to people, you know, it's like, the two things I will never recant in this life is being gay and being a witch. If you have a problem with any of those two things, have a nice life. I don't compromise on that, right? I'm not gonna, I actually had somebody say, well, can you just tell my parents you're Catholic? I was like, no, bye. Poof, I disappeared like Endora, minus the blue eyeshadow. What's going on in her emotional field, her element of water? Third major arcana card out of 4, the card of justice. So really, what she's got and what she's feeling is that, right, that weighing of Ma'at with the scales. Now, Ma'at, Egyptian goddess of the underworld, or at least the afterlife, weighs the heart against an ostrich feather usually, although I think it depends on your version. Also depends on the version what happens with that weighing. If the heart is lighter than an ostrich feather, you get to move on to the next world. If your heart is heavier than that feather, well, one version says you have to reincarnate. Another version says that your soul gets eaten by a demon. I prefer the former rather than the latter. So definitely she's feeling perhaps a little indecisive here, perhaps feeling that things haven't been fair, but there's also a good chunk of the quantum collective here for you Aquarians that really do feel like you've come into an emotional balance with that, but that doesn't mean that you're necessarily ready to run into something, though some of you probably are. Right? You might be feeling two ways about it, but there is definitely that feeling of forward motion, that you are in motion, at least in terms of your own divine family archetype spiritual path as a priest or priestess. What's the point of view of the soul? The spirit position here should be very telling, right? What is the point of view or the voice of the soul? 10 of Flames, the Hora. My darling divine feminine, if you are the one watching this, this is the Hora. Hava, Nagila Hava. Now, the Hora is never done at a funeral, right? It's a dance of a rite of passage, usually done at weddings, but I believe also bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, because I've been to all 3 of those. My stepfather's Jewish. My mother divorced my father, and married or divorce lawyer. And that happened when I was 2 years old. So when I call them Zeus and Hera, so I preserve their privacy. That's to who I was raised by a Zeus lawyer. No shit. So this really is a thing of completion of an element of desire, a rite of passage. So whatever it is that she has been through on her spiritual path in particular is coming to a completion, so that she might very well be ready for new desires to come into her. And maybe that's what it is that she's wanting, is a change, a new thing, a new experience, that perhaps she has learned her soul lessons through her twin flames, at least romantically, and is ready to move into a more stable, solid, satisfying, symbiotic, sympathetic, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, sexual, intimate, romantic soulmate read. Feels like she might be ready. We'll see. Let's see how our engineer is doing. No, I gotta say, if ever there was a first wave divine feminine empath, here we might very well have a second wave social justicer, divine masculine. Let's have a look. With the mythic tarot, through the voices of the divine yang, my gods, my gods, my gods, please breathe. Top 5 cards, elements spread. For this divine masculine engineer in this Aquarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic, soulmate, satisfying contract for April, May 2020. Please, my gods. Top 5 card, elements spread. Fire, what does he desire? Earth, what does he have? Air, what does he think? Water, what does he feel? Spirit, what is the voice of, or the point of view of his soul for the soulmate contract, April, May 2020. Thank you, my God, Son, Father, Sage. Son, Father, Sage. What does he want? The fool, Dionysus, he wants a new beginning. He wants to jump off the cliff. He's ready to go. Great. Now I've got that song from the 80s. Oh my God. Elastica. Baby, I'm ready to go. He's ready to go. He wants to, at least. Whether or not he's ready, he wants to go. He's ready to take the leap. And you know, Dionysus is my lifelong patron, my natal patron, bless his heart. I adore him. He's also my patron this year. So, you know, perhaps his mechanistic stuff has gotten him a little dry. You know, an Aquarian can be a little stratospheric, a little dry emotionally. He's ready to experience things a little bit more in the body, a little bit more to take the risk, to take the leap in terms of love. Interesting. What does he have to help him achieve that? He's got the Magician. Literally, the Fool is the 0 card. The Magician is card number 1. So kind of like an engineer, he's going step by step. He's doing this by the numbers. So the Magician hears Hermes at a crossroads, balancing his air, his fire, his water, his earth, the wand, the sword, the wand, the cup, and the pentacle, in order to channel into physical form, sort of doing the Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta pointing thing, right? About bringing down into the spirit into form, right? But keeping in mind, there's alchemy there. That's Hermes. You know, he's got his own branch of magic called Hermetic magic. So he might be doing this, if not through a particularly magical or spiritual way, he certainly has all the tools necessary. And I just don't mean the physical ones. This is someone who has achieved some maturity, who is perhaps really ready and willing, who knows if he's able. But these two seem to be somewhat on the same page, whether they've met each other or not. Remember, that's going to play itself out differently in a quantum field as large as a zodiacal collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. But what's he thinking, you see? Now, this is the element of air. Well, the page of Pentacles. Now, pages are messengers, but certainly they are also an immature, and I don't necessarily mean childish, but immature. He's willing to take a baby step. He's thinking at least about a baby step, a toe dipping, gonna give it a shot, gonna say, well, what if we tried just texting each other? Like, what if we tried, or maybe let me try online dating? Because obviously right now it's really hard to go out and meet people 6 feet away, right? You know, so he's thinking about it. He may not be ready to take the action, although I kind of feel like he is ready, he is willing, but he may not be able to. So isn't that just the trickster right now? We may be ready, we may be willing, but we may not be able to just because of certain global conditions going on. Let's just leave that there. But certainly he's thinking about it, the Page of Pentacles, thinking about taking that first little baby step. We don't know if he will yet. He may not, again, be able to, and stay healthy and safe. Such a nice way of saying it. Emotionally, this should be fun. What's going on in his element of water? Ooh, the Tower. Now, again, just like the Divine Feminine, 3 out of 5 so far, 3 out of 5 major arcana cards. He's got the Fool, he's got the Magician, and now he's got Poseidon, the Tower. So look, how many of us are going through Tower moments emotionally? Oh, a lot of us. Emotional breakdowns as well as emotional breakthroughs. This isn't the Death card. This isn't where something has happened gradually in a process of transformation. This is a bam. Maybe what's going on the planet right now has really set off a timer within him. Something went ding, where it's like, okay, I want to be in love. I want to get into my heart. I want to get into my body. I want to have my soulmate contract, even if he's not using those words. It's like, no, I want this. I want this. So whatever foundation he was on, remember, either one who is an Aquarian here, they're very good being by themselves. They're very good being friendly with everybody. Intimacy, let's just say, is not necessarily the specialty of an Aquarian. Of course, if you've got a Cancerian moon or rising or sun sign or Venus, then that can be in there. And this might not even be the Aquarian. Doesn't matter. Whoever's watching this has definitely been struck by lightning, and that's what's triggering the desire of the Fool to jump in once more into the bleach. Debbie Harry, once again into the bleach, once more into the bleach. But like I said, has the tools, has everything he needs to do that, is ready, is willing, may not yet be able. Again, this fourth position, the position of spirit, the point of view or the voice of the soul, should be very telling. 7 of Pentacles. In a place of appraisal. In a place of really stepping back and looking and evaluating from a soul place. It's like, okay, let me really, how do I do this wisely and well? The element of Pentacles, the element of Earth, the suit of Pentacles, I should say, element of Earth, is about experience, right? It's not just all about money and physical tangibles. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. So the soul might very well be looking at, okay, am I really ready? Right? Have I been through enough? Now, emotionally, that answer is yes. Perhaps there has been some emotional catharsis going on that's leading him to think about this in a Page of Pentacles way. But with the 7 of Pentacles, really considering an offer, really considering moving forward on a soul level, it might just be time for him. Now, keep in mind, we're dealing with an engineer archetype. He's probably going to make sure the schematics are in place, right? Probably going to make sure that he's ticked off everything on the checklist, right? It's like, okay, well, how are my finances, and how's my physical health, and am I ready to do this, and do you think I'm emotionally ready, and, you know, psychologically, where am I in this system, you know? So probably there's a lot of thinking and a lot of checklisting going on. Remember the shadow side of this, reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences, but yet I feel like he's got this ability to give creative energy a practical expression, that he's willing to kind of do this, but wants to make sure that it's done in a practical way. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, healthy. Let's just circle that word. Okay, really nice element spreads for these two. We've got 5 more cards that are going to hit the table, 2 of which are going to be with the Healing with the Angels Oracle. by Doreen Virtue, one for each of them. Since it is the healing with the angels oracle, what are the angels that are helping them heal? Themselves individually, but because of the quantum entanglement of a soulmate contract, as they heal themselves, it's going to help the other heal, which is why usually when soulmates meet, they have these odd things in common, like, wow, you had that happen to you too. Wow, and I read that same book, right? It's that thing where you say, it's like, oh my God, we have so much in common, yet not like a twin flame, right? Helping each other heal. So regardless of who you are in this, work with this angel that's about to hit the table, whether you are the divine feminine priest or the divine masculine engineer. Breathe. Oh, my angels. Hi, my angels, please do cards in clarity. One for the divine feminine priest, priestess, one for the divine masculine engineer, please. What are the angels that walk with them? What are the angels in the healing with the angels oracle that they can be aware of to help them heal themselves and help each other heal in this Aquarian collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic, satisfying soulmate contract for April, May 2020. Please, one for the divine. Nope, that's two. Please, one for the divine feminine. Yep. And please, one for the divine. Let that one go around again if that was it. Please, one for the divine masculine. And there we go. Well, considering the amount of fire that she's got there with Sagittarius and the Ten of Flames, we're looking at intention. Intention is the combination of what you want and why you want it. So to be clarifying her intention, which does make sense emotionally, she's got this card of justice, right? That kind of, I want to make sure this is fair. I want to make sure. So she's probably clarifying her own emotional wants and needs, and that does show itself as well in this card of the Chariot in her element of Earth. So to work with the angel of intention, not just what do you want, why do you want it? What is it that you intend? Well, I intend to do this in a fair, just way that is expansive and clear. There's nothing like clear intention, because that at least informs the universe of where you want to go. So the quantum threads, if you will, the quantum strings, can reorganize themselves in a way to prepare you for that in fulfillment with the divine plan and your soul contracts. The divine masculine's got new love, which I think really matches up really well with that card of the Fool in terms of what he wants. So the angel of new love. But this soulmate contract might be really new for him. It might be unexplored terrain. Not saying that he's never been in a relationship before, even a romantic relationship before, but it might be his first real soulmate contract, in that where it's not so turbulent, tricky, transformative, tumultuous, triggery, traumatic, twin flame contract, that this is soulmate. So this might really be like new terrain for him, and hence that thing of, yes, being struck by lightning of the Tower, but that he really does have everything he needs to do it. But why, in terms of the new opportunity, that he's got the Page of Pentacles on his mind, right? Like, very Tina Belcher, but with that Seven of Pentacles saying, you know, stay in appraisal for a little bit, honey. Hang in there. You may be ready, you may be willing, but you may not be able, just because of the current global situation. Let's ask their higher selves through the Whispers of Love Oracle. I love this deck. To kind of give them that extra little piece of clarity. And these cards will sometimes just call out on the carpet exactly what's going on and exactly what each of them may need to do. Nice deep breath. The higher selves of all involved, please, 2 cards. One for the divine feminine priest, priestess, one for the divine masculine engineer. In this Aquarian collective, sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual satisfying soulmate contract for April, May 2020, please. First one for the divine feminine, priestess. There we go. One for the divine masculine engineer. There we go. This came out relatively easily. Okay. For the divine feminine, the only thing that is real is love. Shift your focus from the problem back to love. The only thing that is real is love. So look, if you are the divine feminine here, get that this is part of your contract. Get that this is something that you came in to do. And no matter what happens, the only thing that is real is love. Shift your focus from whatever it is that you have been through to love. That if you get that, all right, I'm just going to channel love here, which means if I get angry, if I get scared, I'm just going to love that within myself. Right? I'm not going to try and make this a spiritual project. I'm not going to overanalyze it. But whatever is coming up in me, I'm going to deal with my own emotions fairly, bring them into balance through love. When you love what arises, this is a Matt Kahn thing, by the way, his deck is next, DECK, the Healing Mantra deck. It really does do the healing for you. So it's not that we have to try and heal our emotions. The emotions that are rising are a sign that the healing is already underway, right? So as we love what rises, the love does the balancing, does the work, does the healing through us, for our own good, and for the well-being of all. The divine masculine has receive with love and appreciation. Receiving something lovingly from others is a way of showing love. It may be that with that Chariot card, it is the divine feminine that makes the first move, right? Where then the divine masculine is being told, just receive. And how do you receive to start with? You say, thank you. Thank you. I will take it under advisement. Sounds very much like an engineer, right? Let me think about that. Let me check the blueprints and the schematas. Let's see what's the appropriate protocol for this, you know. But receive with love and appreciation, as well as to say that the angels are giving you this new love. Receive it with love and appreciation. Very neat. Last card down, we are looking at the Healing Mantra deck here by Matt Kahn. One side of the card has the name of the mantra, the other side of the card the mantra itself, and I will use the name of the mantra to look up in ye old bookie book here what the healing mantra is, because otherwise there's nothing else written on the card, and I do that specifically to make the light turn off so that I can read what's in the book, because when I stare at that light on the camera, I get the dot. It's very hard to read what's in the book. So I learned how to do that this time around. Let's ask the Ascended Masters of Soulmate Contracts. Can you believe they specialize? Yeah, they do. They're like a law firm up there. Nicer clothes, though. Bit more compassionate and understanding. Nobody's looking to take advantage of anybody legally. Sorry, just making room here, Virgo that I am. Okay, ready? Breathe. My Ascended Masters of Soulmate Contracts, please. One card in clarity, so it doesn't matter who's watching it. Say the mantra, it will help the soulmate contract heal. Please, the perfect healing mantra for this Aquarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, satisfying, sexual, intimate, romantic soulmate contract involving this divine feminine priestess and this divine masculine engineer. Please, what is the perfect healing mantra for them for April, May 2020? Doesn't matter which one is watching. If they work the mantra, it will help them heal and help bring this dealio together for the well-being of all. Sharing shame. When I share my deepest pain, I give myself permission to be. So there is a mutual act of confession here, a sharing of their pain. Now you might say, that's not a great first date. Granted. but something that they've both carried pain. And this makes sense for a soulmate contract where they help each other heal, which means they're going to be safe space for each other, that it's going to be friendly. Now, it may very well be the engineer confessing to a priest or priestess. Why? What does a priest or priestess do? Facilitate spiritual commitments, right? The sacrament of confession doesn't just belong to the Judeo-Christian paradigm. No. It's the foundation of therapy and counseling, where you have that confidentiality in that sacred space in order to share and speak your unspeakables without the fear of being ripped to shreds as a result of it. So I'm going to read to you from Le Book de la Bookie, the Bookie book, Sharing Shame. Breathe. When I share my deepest pain, I give myself permission to be. When shame is shared, cycles of victimhood are permitted to heal as you find the courage to speak your truth. By the way, if they haven't met yet, that doesn't mean you can't do it through prayer. That doesn't mean you can't light a candle and confess to the candle. But there's something about sharing your shame, your pain here that is so healing, and of course there's nothing wrong with a counselor or a therapist as needed. Since abuse and neglect can only be perpetuated in silence, it is your willingness to step forward and share your life's story that helps transform each wound and inspire others to be set free. Once your shame is shared, you are able to honor yourself with the heightened encouragement, worthiness, and validation that you deserve to receive. This mantra is ideal for revisiting past traumas, expressing your inner child, not the easiest thing in the world to do, but absolutely necessary, and finding self-acceptance, sharing shame. I'm going to pop up the picture in what we call the overview here at the Drawing the Circle channel, and we will see what else pops. All right, nice deep breath. Magic clap. We start with the divine feminine, priest, priestess archetype. The shadow attribute violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your spiritual role. That would absolutely be breaking vows of confidentiality. Just an example, considering we've got that sharing shame mantra here. The light attribute facilitates spiritual commitments, perhaps their own. And remember, the word facilitate, the root facile, is from the French, meaning simple. So makes spiritual commitments a little bit simpler, a little bit easier, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. And I see that absolutely in that Sagittarian card, a fire card in the element of fire and desire, wanting very much something more expansive, perhaps something more spiritual, perhaps more spiritually at least supportive in terms of her soulmate contracts. And what she has to do that is the Amazon. If she can really reconcile the light and the dark, perhaps her own shame, her own pain, that if she can find a way of sharing that, she will be able to balance that light and dark horse and move forward. And what's on her mind? Well, I'm going to say with the High Priestess there, having the priest, priestess archetype, her own spiritual path, her own spiritual nature. Perhaps she understands the language of soul contracts. It's on her mind and saying, you know what? Enough of this compromising. I'm not going to hide who I am anymore. This is who I am, regardless of how she identifies spiritually, that it's just not something that she's willing to go on with. And maybe because the priestess is usually seen as the virgin or the maiden of the maiden, mother, and crone, that she's been thinking about her life in a solitary way and is really ready to expand that into a relationship that is supportive of who she is spiritually. But then, of course, emotionally, she's got there the card of justice, Ma'at, that she is weighing things out emotionally because she wants to be true to who she is, but also perhaps not so stringent in terms of what she wants. Like, is it being fair to herself if she has to be with somebody who's on a spiritual path like her own? Probably not. That's not really fair, and nor is that necessary. I think the more relationships we have with people that we don't agree with, the faster we grow, right? The more of a catalyst for growth that is, and particularly if you want to master unconditional love, you got to be around people who don't see eye to eye with you all the time. But I will say with that Ten of Flames, the dance of the Hora, the completion of the element of fire in the soul position definitely says that you know, she's completed a lot of stuff, right? She really has gone through some rites of passage here and has fulfilled a lot of her, at least spiritual desires. And with that card of intention from the angels, that the angels are like, okay, let's look at what is it that you really want and why you want it, and let's prepare your healing journey to integrate that. Not that you need to be completely healed for your intention to manifest, but as long as you get that the intention of a soulmate contract is to help each other heal, then at least you're in mode, right? You're on track in the correct direction for such a thing. Keeping in mind the message from the higher self, the only thing that is real is love. Shift your focus from the problem back to love, and you will find that therein lies your solution. For the divine masculine engineer, we have the shadow attribute reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. The light attribute ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. And looking at what he wants, that the Fool, it's like, okay, he's probably got himself to a place of financial stability, right? Job security, particularly if he's an engineer in any computer, where you could say that his work is essential. Dancing around the subject as I do. So he's ready to take a leap into a new relationship, whether or not he has the context of a soulmate contract or not. And with the Magician there, he has the mental, emotional desire and physical tools to do this. He's more prepared than he's ready. So he might very well be ready, and he may very well be willing, but I think the ability here has more to do with the outside world, and that's why in the mental sphere we have the Page of Pentacles here, that he's thinking about an initial venture, right? Taking a baby step, the Page of Pentacles. And remember, when I use the word immature in terms of the pages, I'm not talking childish, someone who tantrums necessarily, but like a seed that has not yet been planted. It's in its immature stages. Because emotionally, the Tower card is there. Probably what's going on the planet has affected him to the point where he's getting, well, if love is the only answer here, he's been shaken, he's been shook, and his heart has probably cracked open, realizing that he may not want to go through all of this alone, or even if he is in another relationship, it might not be that satisfying soulmate helping each other heal deal. He might be in a twin flame and he's just ready to move on. And with the Seven of Pentacles in that spirit position, the soul is saying, well, stay in appraisal for a little bit. Really look this over. Evaluate where you are. Because indeed, he may be ready, he may be willing, but I don't know that he may be able, just in terms of what's going on planet Earth for April and May, to actually pull this off physically. That's why we're looking at Pentacles there. And yet, there is the Healing with the Angels Oracle card of New Love, that the Angel of New Love is preparing him. And it would make sense that they're going to do this slowly. This is an Aquarian fixed air thing, so there might be a lot more focus needed here in using the time wisely to do the healing, to do the alignment here. But both of them have like 3 major arcana cards. And so there's definitely a spiritual awakening process going on here for both of them. And when the opportunity comes, what is the response? The whisper of love from the higher self, receive with love and appreciation. Is he willing to receive something lovingly from others as a way of showing love? Because even the Course in Miracles says giving and receiving are one in truth. And part of that is going to be about sharing shame. Now, it may not be the first thing out of the gate that they talk about, but when they share their deepest pain, they give themselves permission to be. So as far as the healing mantra goes, it makes sense to start this now, because both of them do have a backlog of pain, and what's the point of being in a soulmate contract where you help each other heal if you don't acknowledge you have stuff to heal? Who isn't healing right now? I mean, I believe if you're still in a physical body, you still got something to heal, unless, of course, you're the Dalai Lama, you know, being that reincarnation of the Buddha and all of that. You may not have as much emotional baggage as others on the planet, if at all. So really, even the sharing of shame here is going to allow them to start, again, a whole new life together as a soulmate contract here, which the world is very much in need of. kind of happy for you, my Aquarians. Hang in there. Yeah, the world's on pause right now, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot going on in the interior world. So may the Aquarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their soulmate contracts for April, May, that they may heal, that they may grow, that they may share their shame with new love and intention, and that they may fulfill their roles in the divine plan individually in their contract and for the well-being of all. So mote it be, and so it is. Thank you for watching, my Aquarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign and or cross watchers. Again, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment in the description box below, and by all means, I wish you the very best and the very blessed for April, May 2020. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.